Ladies and gentlemen, imagine you're building a house. You're excited you've got the land, the dream, the blueprint in your head. And then you hire a builder who looks at every crooked wall and says perfect. Every leaking pipe amazing. Every weak foundation, don't worry, it will stand. You don't need an enemy to destroy that house. That builder will do it for free. Today we're not talking about strangers. We're not talking about obvious villains. We're talking about the people who smile, not clap, and quietly put your future at risk. And if you're serious about growth, business, career, or life, you need to hear this. Because the first person you should never trust is the person who always agrees with you. You know this person, you say, "I'm quitting my job tomorrow." They say, "Wow, brave." You say, "I haven't saved anything." They say, "Money is just energy." You say, "I learned everything from 2 YouTube videos." They say, "That's basically a degree." Every idea you have is suddenly genius. Every plan is visionary. Every bad decision is called growth. At first it feels amazing. Let's be honest, agreement feels like a warm blanket and a cup of coffee for your ego. Finally someone who gets you. Finally someone who doesn't question you. But here's the truth. People who always agree with you are not supporting you. They are babysitting their own comfort. They don't want to be the negative one. They don't want you to look at them later and say, "Why didn't you stop me?" So they clap, they smile, and when everything falls apart, they say, "Well, you decided." Think about someone famous, the former CEO of Starbucks. Early on he had plenty of people saying, "Yes, Howard. Perfect idea, amazing coffee, brilliant plan," but the people who actually saved him, the ones who said this won't work, slow down, you're about to make a very expensive mistake, those people were uncomfortable. They disagreed, they asked annoying questions. And that's exactly why they mattered. I once met a young entrepreneur. Smart kid, high energy, big dreams, he told me. "Everyone supports me," I asked. "Even when your idea sounds crazy?" He said, "Of course, everyone is on board." I smiled. Not because he was wrong, but because I've seen this movie before. When everyone supports you, it usually means no one is thinking. It means no one is brave enough to say, "This is a bad idea, look around your own life." The coworker who agrees in meetings, but vanishes when results are due. The friend who supports every bad habit, because if you improve they'll feel exposed. The family member who says, "Just be happy," but never asks, "Are you building anything?" And here's the real danger. Over time, these people train you to trust your first thought instead of your best thought. You stop thinking, you stop checking, you stop growing. You end up in a room full of yes men and no progress. Let me say this clearly and slowly. If everyone around you agrees with you, you are not leading, you are being entertained. So the next time someone disagrees with you, don't get angry, don't say you don't believe in me. Instead ask, "Are you seeing something I'm missing?" Because the person who always agrees with you, but long term they are cheering while you walk in the wrong direction. Ladies and gentlemen, the second person you should never trust is the person who is only with you when things are going well. You know, this one, when you're winning, they're everywhere calling, texting, commenting, "Bro, I always believed in you when you're doing good." Suddenly they were there from the beginning. But the moment things slow down, the replies get shorter, the calls stop, the support becomes silence. Success attracts people. When you're climbing, everyone wants to walk next to you. When you slip, suddenly everyone is busy. You lose a deal, they say, "Ah, maybe it wasn't meant to be." You fail at something, they say you should try something else. You struggle, they say nothing, because they didn't come for you, they came for the moment. Think about someone famous. Someone like Steve Jobs. When Apple struggled in the early 80s, a lot of people left, doubted him, or openly criticized his methods. But the few who stayed, who believed in the vision and not the applause, they were the ones who helped Apple survive and later dominate the world. Think about life like weather. Sunny days bring crowds. Rain shows you who actually owns an umbrella. Many famous people talk about this. When success arrived, the room was full. When failure hit, the room was empty. But clearest, I once saw this up close. A guy called Liam, I knew, built something big very fast. Suddenly he had friends he'd never seen before. Advice everywhere, support everywhere. Then one bad year hit one setback. And just like that, no calls. No advice, no bro. Not because he changed, but because the benefits disappeared. These people don't betray you loudly. They leave quietly. They don't say I'm using you. They just vanish. When there's nothing to gain in your daily life. This could be runners. The friend who only calls when you're doing well. The colleague who supports you. The people who celebrate you publicly, but abandon you privately. Here's the truth: loyalty is not tested in success. It's tested in struggle. Anyone can clap when you're on stage. Very few will sit with you when the lights are off. Who listens when you have nothing exciting to say? Who walks with you when there's no reward? Because the people who only show up when you're winning are not part of your future. They're just visitors, ladies and gentlemen. The third person you should never trust is the one who's secretly jealous of you. You know, this person, they smile when you succeed. They clap, they nod. They say, wow, amazing job, you're killing it. While their brain is screaming, why them, why not me? I'm better than this. It's like having a cat that purrs. They look supportive, but secretly they're waiting for the moment you spill. Think about someone famous. Someone like Oprah Winfrey. Early in her career, people clapped for her. But behind the scenes, they whispered doubts, tried to hold her back, and compared her to everyone else. The people who really helped her. The ones genuinely happy for her success. Not the ones smiling while rolling their eyes. In real life, it's everywhere. That coworker who says congrats on your promotion, but somehow makes it sound like their idea should have been promoted instead. The friend who posts a clapping emoji under your Instagram success story, then texts everyone else. Can you believe they actually did that? The cousin at family dinners who says, wow, you're doing great, then spends the night comparing your life to theirs. I once saw a young entrepreneur excitedly show his progress to your friend. The friend smiled, nodded, said you're amazing. 10 minutes later, the friend told another group, let's see how long this lasts. The kid was shocked. Not because his friend didn't like him, but because the friend pretended to like him. Jealousy is sneaky, it doesn't yell. It doesn't argue, it quietly drains your energy, plants doubt, and makes you question if anyone is really on your side. Here's the rule. A real supporter celebrates without sarcasm. A real supporter helps without competition. I could do better while clapping at your win. So if someone always smiles at your wins, but somehow manages to make it about them anyway, keep your distance and maybe hide your coffee, your ideas and your ambition. Ladies and gentlemen, the fourth person you should never trust is the one who can't keep their mouth shut. The gossip, you know this one. Immediately they hear a tiny thing about you. Maybe nothing at all, and suddenly the whole world knows except you. They smile while telling your story, like it's helpful advice, but really, it's like giving a toddler a megaphone and letting them broadcast your life. Think about someone famous. Someone like Mark Zuckerberg. When Facebook was growing, every small mistake, rumor or leak could spiral into PR disasters. The ones who succeeded weren't the ones who whispered secrets for fun. They were the people who kept confidence, respected the mission, and didn't stir drama. Now in real life, it's hilarious and tragic how obvious it is. The coworker who shares news about your project, and suddenly it's everywhere, with mistakes you didn't make. The friend who tells everyone about your personal life, your breakup, or your side hustle, but says, I'm just helping. The family member at dinners who whispers advice about your choices. Then everyone is suddenly judging you. I once saw a young entrepreneur thrilled about landing a big client. He excitedly told a trusted friend. By the next day, the whole industry knew, and he hadn't even signed the contract yet. The friend smiled and said, I just thought people should know. You're welcome, welcome to chaos. Here's the truth: gossip doesn't just waste time. It can destroy opportunities. It turns your wins into rumors, your plans into jokes, and your life into everyone else's entertainment. A real supporter talks about solutions, not stories. A real supporter never turns your life into someone else's drama. So if someone is always sharing, advising, or telling everyone because they care, watch closely, ladies and gentlemen. The fifth person you should never trust is the excuse maker. You know this person. Always tired, always unlucky. Life is never fair to them. Every small setback is a massive catastrophe. Every challenge is impossible. At first you feel sympathy. Poor thing, life really is hard for them. But stay close long enough and suddenly their excuses start sounding reasonable. Before you know it, you're questioning your own decisions, your own energy, your own drive, and they haven't done a single thing. To actually move forward, think about someone famous. Someone like Richard Branson. In business, he's talked about the people who always had an excuse. Ready why a project failed. Why someone couldn't perform. Brilliant teams succeed because they don't buy into excuses. They solve problems, they take responsibility. The excuse makers, they were energy vampires, pretending to be part of the mission. Now in real life they're everywhere. The coworker who always says, I would have finished the project, but the printer broke, my email failed, and Mercury is in retrograde. The friend who is so busy to meet you, but always has time for Netflix or a random snack. The family member who claims life is unfair, but spends hours complaining on Facebook while doing nothing. I once worked with someone who had a brilliant idea. Instead of making it happen, they spent weeks explaining why it couldn't be done, how the market was unfair, the rules were impossible, and the timing was wrong by the end. The excuses didn't just slow progress, they made everyone else question themselves. And the crazy part, they didn't even realize they were doing it. Here's the truth, excuses are contagious. Spend enough time around them, and suddenly your own goals start feeling impossible. Energy gets drained, motivation disappears. Action stalls. A real person takes responsibility. A real person sees obstacles and finds solutions. A real person doesn't build a fortress of excuses around themselves and invite you in. So if someone is always too tired, too unlucky, or too busy for action, keep your distance, because they're the fifth type of person you should never trust. Ladies and gentlemen, the sixth person you should never trust is the overly critical one. You know this person, nothing you do is ever good enough. Every idea is too small, every plan is too risky, every achievement not impressive. At first it feels like advice. Maybe they're right. But after enough time, their criticism doesn't motivate you. Start questioning yourself. Your confidence slowly leaks out, like water from a leaky faucet, and they smile as if they're helping. Think about someone famous. Someone like J.K. Rowling. Even she has talked about the endless critics. Before Harry Potter became a global success, many people told her stories wouldn't work, that it wasn't original enough, that she should give up the difference. She ignored the critics who only pointed out problems, without offering solutions, and found the ones who genuinely wanted to help. In real life, this person shows up everywhere. The coworker who always points out what's wrong in your presentation, but never suggests how to fix it. The friend who critiques your outfit, your project, your idea, your life like it's their full-time job. The family member who loves to say, I'm just giving you constructive feedback, while secretly making you feel small. I once saw a young entrepreneur pitch an idea. The overly critical one jumped in immediately. This won't work, the market's wrong. You're not ready, your plan is unrealistic. By the end of the conversation, the entrepreneur didn't know if he should proceed or crawl under a blanket and quit his plan. Here's the truth. Criticism without support is poison disguised as advice. It drains your energy, it slows your action. It makes you doubt the things you were already sure about. A real supporter points out risks and then helps you solve them. A real supporter challenges ideas without challenging your worth. A real supporter lifts you rather than clipping your wings. So if someone is always negative, always pointing out flaws, always helping with criticism, watch out, ladies and gentlemen. The seventh person you should never trust is the comfort keeper. This person doesn't hate you. They don't fight you. They just want you to stay comfortable. You say, I want to work on myself tonight. They say, bro, come on, let's just watch Netflix. You say, I need to focus this weekend. They say, relax. There's a party one night, won't hurt. You say, I'm trying to change my life. They say, chill. You're doing too much. They don't tell you to fail. They tell you to delay just one episode, just one coffee, just one night. And somehow one night becomes 1 year. Think about someone famous. Someone like Kobe Bryant while others were sleeping, relaxing, partying. He was working not because he hated fun, but because he understood timing. Most people want comfort now and regret later. A few choose discomfort now and freedom later. In real life, the comfort keeper looks like this. The friend who calls every time you sit down to work. The coworker who says, "Why are you stressing? Let's go out." The family member who says, "You can do it tomorrow." They're not evil. They're just addicted to comfort and they want company. I once saw someone with crazy potential. Every time they tried to focus, someone pulled them away. Netflix parties, late nights, memories. Years passed, nothing changed. Here's the truth: comfort is expensive. It charges interest and you always pay later. A real supporter will say, "Finish the work first, skip the party. Do what others won't." So be careful around people who invite you to relax every time you're about to grow, because the comfort keeper won't ruin your life in one day. They'll do it slowly, one episode at a time. Thank you for listening. And don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends.